Hi, my name is Caroline Poland, and I am the founder and CEO of Poland & Associates Consulting. Today, we're going to carry on with our trauma-informed workplaces and classrooms series and introduce this next principle of trauma-informed care, which is empowerment. Before we get started, I want to mention that I can't speak to any individual or specific organization, and I have a disclaimer below that you can read more about that. When we're wanting to implement something, it's not enough to just focus on what we don't want to look like, although that's important. We also want to balance that with what do we want to look like. So I first want to start with looking at what a disempowering organization or a classroom might look like. Now, again, there are a long list of examples of this, and so what I'm going to give in this category and the empowering category is just a small sample of what this might look like. And I want you to be curious as you listen to this list about things that maybe you've experienced or that you've seen, or maybe even things that you've done in a workplace or classroom that might have led to this experience. So disempowerment in a classroom or organization could look like any of the following. It could look like a boss speaking over an employee and not allowing that employee to be heard. It could be a boss or a teacher laughing at an employee or a student for their ideas or their suggestions instead of hearing them. Those shaming statements or shaming body stances can be so disempowering and damaging to the creative flow and the learning environment. Body postures and eye rolling, kind of a snarky laugh, things like that can really be disempowering and can lead to employees no longer offering their ideas or students not being willing to take a risk in a classroom and suggest something or ask a question. And we want, again, employees to have this creative flow and be willing to throw out ideas without all of the self-editing, or for students to feel comfortable in asking a question. And if we are disempowering, we're taking away the freedom to do that. Belittling statements or statements that are directly making fun of that employee or that student, condescending statements, things of that nature are also disempowering. It could look like wasting time for that employee with unnecessary conversations or emails or meetings. Micromanaging situations can feel very disempowering to some individuals, but this is where we want to get to know that individual, because every individual employee or student has a different need for support. And so what might feel micromanaging to one employee might feel like just the right amount of structure to the next. And we want to know that as a boss or a manager so that we can provide the support and the resources that are necessary. Disempowerment can also look like not providing the resources that an employee or a student needs in order to be successful. Again, that balance between demands and resources needs to be healthy. And when we start to get unbalanced, we're on that road to compassion fatigue and burnout, and it really impacts an ability to learn. And so we want to make sure that we are providing the resources that are necessary instead of holding back on resources and expecting employees or students to just figure it out. A disempowering workplace or classroom might look very sneaky, and this could be very subtle and passive, but if employees are not being invited to meetings that they should be attending or that their job responsibilities or job position warrant their attendance in, that is disempowering to the individual. Again, none of these might be very big in and of themselves, but it's this constant chipping away at that individual employee or that individual student that over time gradually builds to the sense of disempowerment and a felt lack of safety in the workplace, which actually takes that employee further away from where we want them to be. Of course, lying to employees or to students is disempowering, and if that employee or student catches their boss or their teacher or educator in a lie, that sets a very difficult dynamic for that employee or that student to manage. And so we want to be very mindful about telling the truth within the boundaries of what we can communicate. So we want to, of course, avoid lying or hiding the truth in ways that are appropriate within the classroom or the organization. And then, of course, systemic issues, harassment, discrimination, abuse are all disempowering and will only lead to toxic things in the workplace and take the workplace or the classroom further away from what is healthy and providing a good environment for employees and students as a whole. So again, these are just a few examples of what a disempowered workplace or organization or classroom might look like. Again, there are plenty of other examples, but these are just some to get you thinking as you take on that stance of that curious observer and noticer and do a deep dive, whether that's in your own workplace or your own classroom, within your own behaviors. We're not perfect people, and so even when we try to be empowering, at times we will disempower someone, and that's part of what is mine to do in life. Those healthy boundaries is to take good self-ownership and to observe where I might disempower someone or where someone else might disempower someone in my presence. And then I need to get curious about that and what do I do next? In the next video, we're going to look more specifically at what an empowered workplace looks like and how we can start to incorporate empowerment into the structure of our workplace or organization or classroom and how that benefits our employees and our students. If you haven't yet done so, click subscribe on this channel so that you don't miss out on future videos as we continue to explore this absolutely critical topic of trauma-informed workplaces and classrooms. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Poland & Associates and my website polandassociates.com. And if you are interested in having me speak to your business or organization, you can go to my website. There's a form that you can fill out and we can schedule a call and begin working together.